Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent Start, and welcome back to Season 2. Today, I want to talk about something that takes your speaking to another level. Not just speaking, but expressing your opinions clearly and strongly. Because at some point, learning English is not only about answering simple questions, it's about sharing what you think, your ideas, your perspective, your voice. And that's where many learners start to feel challenged again. Because saying yes or no is easy, but explaining why is harder. Sometimes you have an opinion in your mind. You know what you want to say. But when you try to express it in English, it feels unclear, it feels messy, or maybe you stop halfway because you're not sure how to continue. And that's completely normal, because expressing opinions is not just about language. It's about structure, clarity, and confidence. I think one of the main reasons people struggle with this is because they try to say everything at once. Too many ideas, too many thoughts in one sentence. And that makes it confusing, not only for the listener, but also for you. So maybe the first step is this: keep your ideas simple. You don't need to sound complex to sound strong. In fact, simple ideas are often clearer. Instead of trying to explain everything in one long sentence, you can break it down. Say one idea, then explain it, then maybe give an example. That already makes your opinion sound clearer.
Speaker 2.
Another thing is using simple phrases to organize your thoughts. For example, you can start with I think, in my opinion, or I believe. These are very simple, but they give your sentence direction. Then you can continue with because, the reason is, or for example. And suddenly, your speaking becomes more structured and easier to understand. I think clarity comes from structure, not from difficult words. You don't need advanced vocabulary. You just need to make your idea easy to follow. I also think it's important to slow down when expressing opinions, because when you rush, your ideas become unclear. You lose control of your sentence. But when you slow down, even just a little, you have time to think, to choose your words, and to connect your ideas. And that makes your speaking stronger. Another important thing is confidence. Sometimes people don't sound strong not because their English is weak, but because they don't trust their own opinion. They say things like, maybe I'm wrong, but, I'm not sure, but, or I don't know, but, and it makes their message feel weaker. Of course, it's okay to be polite. It's okay to be careful, but it's also okay to stand by your idea. You can say, I think this is important. I believe this is better. Or, I don't agree with that. Simple, clear, and strong. And being strong doesn't mean being aggressive. It just means being clear about what you think.
I also think giving examples helps a lot, because when you give an example, your idea becomes real, easier to understand, and more convincing. For example, instead of saying, I think social media can be negative, you can add, for example, sometimes people compare themselves and feel insecure. Now your idea is clearer and more complete. I think expressing opinions is also about practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. At first, it feels difficult. You pause a lot, you search for words, but slowly you become more comfortable. You start to think faster, speak more clearly, and explain more easily. And that's when your speaking really grows. Because now you are not just using English, you are using English to express yourself, your thoughts, your ideas, and your identity. And that's powerful. Anyway, if you feel like it's still hard to explain your opinions, that's okay. It's part of the process. Just remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be clear, one idea at a time. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this episode helps you feel more confident in sharing your thoughts. Not perfectly, but clearly. And that's enough. Thank you for listening to Fluent Start. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.